So I've decided that that's who I want to be known as. I want to build a brand off of bees and yellow and buzz and honeycomb and hive, hence my background. That's what I've chose to do. And so how does that happen? Is that for you to say, I don't know what to do, I'm lacking brand identity. I want you to understand that when you say you are wanting to brand yourself, you are saying that I am in this for the long. Welcome to Be Real with Sarah, where the bee may sting and the real never dies. Hey guys, we are back with another episode on Be Real with Sarah, okay? Where the what? If the bee, have y'all learned it yet? Y'all probably haven't even learned it yet, but that's okay. Let me tell you why you probably have not learned it. It's because the thing about when you are relaunching or you are launching is that it takes time. It takes quite a few times for people to learn about you, to associate themselves with you, to even be interested in what you do, what you offer. And so that's why it's so important to talk about branding. Okay. Now, I told you guys on the podcast that, of course, I do take my publicist hat off, but it's in me. And so I want to make sure that I'm always putting some type of benchmarks through our episodes, through our just our journey with entrepreneurs and business owners and just amazing individuals to make sure that I am spotlighting something that we all should be doing. And we should always be branding ourselves. We should always be basically what I'm saying is that we should always be putting ourselves out there. And so there's just such this misconception when it relates to branding. You hear people say, I'm trying to build my brand. But then the next question is, well, what is that? Like, what is your brand? What is it? Ask yourself, what is your brand? People will say, well, I'm working on branding. Okay, so are you working on materials? Are you working on logo? What are you working on? So I'm going to put my publicist hat on, okay, on today. Remember I told you it's no judgment over here, but today it may be a little judgment because I'm going to just keep it real with you. The issue is that why people maybe don't know who you are, don't know your brand is, and that's a real thing, is you are truly lacking consistency. One thing that I pride myself on, and it really wasn't intentional, but my last name is Busby, all right? And I didn't know this at the time, but literally my father, they would call him Buzz, right? And there's no Z in our name. That's just not what it is. And so a name that I wouldn't say I was ashamed of it, but I just didn't really like my last name as a child, as a young person. And I literally made money off my last name, right? I've built a brand. I've built a consistent association with Buzz. And I created, with the help of, she's basically like a second mom to me. And she said, well, why don't you name your agency Be the Buzz PR? And I couldn't see it at first, but it originated off my last name, not knowing that it was going to be building brand identity. Then we go into what's the association of Buzz? We start to see bees. We start to see yellow. And as you can see, I said, okay, I'm going to do something a little different with the podcast. I'm going to say Be Real with Sarah because my brand is just the letter B, but then we're going to go into BEE. And I still kept the colors, yellow and black. I did that. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to keep everything, that way. But a lot of times you really look at corporations, they don't stray far away from their main brand colors. There is a main brand identity. That is how they are seen. That is how they are known. That's how they want to be perceived. That is very important to them. That is the core value of who they are. So I've decided that that's who I want to be known as. I want to build a brand off of bees and yellow and buzz and honeycomb and hive, hence my background. That's what I've chose to do. And so how does that happen? Is that for you to say, I don't know what to do, I'm lacking brand identity. I want you to understand that when you say you are wanting to brand yourself, you are saying that I am in this for the long haul and I want to be known for something. I want to be known as something. I want people to associate who I am, what I do, what my company offers to whatever association industry, whatever the mission is. But you're saying that you want to do this for the long haul. I want you to accept that yes, branding can change, but for anyone to recognize you, for anyone to say, okay, I know them to do this, you've got to stay in your lane and you got to be consistent. And if you're a person that have a horrible time with decisions and you can't figure it out, and last month I was a chef and now I'm a trainer. I can also bake. I can groom dogs. When you giving very much, you ain't got no identity. You look like stop saying you a jack of all trades. Cause what am I hiring for you today? Like, I don't have a dog. I don't really need a chef. I have a personal. Well, I'm good at everything. That's not gonna work, right? So, as a publicist, as a person that works in marketing, it is so important for my business owners, my entrepreneurs. I want you to sit down. I'm kind of knocking on your noggin. I want you to take some notes. I want you to identify who you want to be identified as. I want you to write down and say, if you say I am an expert, I want you to say, what am I an expert in? Okay. And I want you to dissect whatever that industry, whatever that title is. And I want you to write sub pillars, right? Write sub pillars. So for me, I could easily say I am a publicist, but I'm also a teacher. I'm also an educator. I'm also a speaker. I'm also a host. I'm also a podcaster, meaning I work in media. I work in the film and television industry. Okay. But then I'm also a business owner. Okay. But I'm a business owner that works in the marketing, because where my trademark people at, PR is up under marketing. So, when we apply and stuff like that, we will be under the marketing sector. You have to know what category you go in. And until you decide to stop taking yourself down a hamster wheel of different things that you say you know how to do, the money will not be consistent. And the identity of who you are and what you want to do is not going to be consistent. I want people to take you serious, and I want people to take myself serious. And so for us to be serious on Be Real with Sarah, I want you to get serious about who are you? What is your brand identity? All right. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs that don't have brand guides. And you're like, well, what is a brand guide? Look at it as your resource template, right? Your resource Bible, in the sense that if you can show up to work, if something happened, somebody should be able to say, well, here's her, I need my social media to continue. I need this to continue. Well, your brand guide says, hey, these are my colors. These are my font. This is what we're known for. This is about me. Some people, we could formulate that into a press kit, a document, EPK, whatever the things are. But the core colors, the core messaging, all of that, you can put all that in your brand guide, right? You could put about who you are, your core values, your pillars, maybe your core events, your do's and your don'ts, all in your brand guide. But for those that are for small business owners, the ones that are startups, and you're saying, well, I don't know where to get started. I don't know what that looks like. Then you are literally in that beginner stage where you've got to identify who you are, what you do, the services that you offer. All right. And then we go into the implementation stage. And so I think when, as what I hear is like, we're rebranding, we're trying to, establish ourselves. We are branding in a sense of, it could be a new campaign. It could be a new initiative. You've got to go back to the basics. Who are you? What are your values? What are your core mission? What are your messages? What are your pillars, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So I advise you to get that brand guide, to get that resource tool. Next thing we discuss, consistency. All right. So the issue, again, as entrepreneurs is that, and I say to myself, we're just not consistent enough. We pick up one thing, we get busy, life happens, and we drop it. Right. And so then we begin to say, well, I'm not seeing traction. I don't, it takes in a marketing world, it takes about 8 times for people to associate you with a certain title or company or organization or a mission. It takes consistency. And so when you do this, what did I say from the beginning of class, guys? Is that when you start saying, I'm ready to brand myself, you are saying, I am in this for the long haul. You are not an expert until you are saying, hey, I'm in it for the long haul. I want you to be an expert at your craft. All right. So as an expert, I look for certain things. If I'm confused by looking at your social media and your website, then everybody else is confused. Okay. So there could be some restructuring that can happen. And one thing I like about business, you can really do what you want to do. You can do what you want to do, but there are certain steps that you really just say need to do. But one thing that is a major problem in being an entrepreneur is that there's too much confusion, and it shouldn't be. And when people start to guess about, okay, I'm not really sure what they do. I didn't know that they offer that. It could be maybe they're just their messaging are not clear. Maybe they're just not being consistent at that. Sometimes people hone in on something or a topic or a particular service and they leave out the other services. And so again, it all goes back to consistency, but also let's talk about planning, right? If you have a brand guide, if you know who you are, you know your audience, you know all the fun, good things, then how are we planning throughout the calendar year to be able to educate people about all of the services, programs, initiatives, events that you do? You have to always stay top of mind. And the only way you can stay top of mind is planning. The problem with branding or identity is that sometimes we're building things off a whim. And when you see companies that come out with campaigns and are dealing with influencers and stuff like that, I can tell you right now that they are planned. There are conversations that happen. There's legal that's involved. There's, maybe monetary exchange. There's meetings about, is this person a right fit? Should we do it at this right time? What does all that mean? That's planning, right? And so again, what is my number one topic that I talked about is that when you talk about identity, you're saying, I'm in this for the long haul. At the end of the day, I'm not going nowhere. I'm like Denzel Washington. I'm leaving here with something. Okay. And before I do that, I want y'all to know what I do. I want to make it very clear what I do. So for example, if I say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a CEO, I'm an agency owner. Okay. Now I'm at an extension of my brand. Okay. Or I'm, coming back as an extension of my brand. And I'm saying, I've been saying like, I'm a speaker, I'm a host, but now I'm adding to that. Right. And I'm saying another pillar of mine is that I'm in media, right? I now have the media side of my brand as Sarah Busby, and I'm a podcaster. And so I understand as an expert, but I also understand as a person that it's going to take time. It's going to take time and it's going to take consistency. It's going to say, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not going to give up. And the moment you decide that, hey, that's what I'm going to do, I'm ready to do it, I'm in it for the long haul, we're in this, listen, I'm in this fight together. We just relaunched. So y'all got to keep me accountable that I don't stop, right? I need y'all to watch these episodes, right? But the only way you can watch the episode is what? I'm putting it in your face. My messaging is like, hey, watch the podcast. I'm going live. I'm pushing. I'm marketing. I'm talking. All right. And I'm building this identity because I want us to connect. I want us to be friends. And there's ways to do that. All right. So I want to jog your mind as we are in the first quarter of the year. Okay. 2026. Whew. Just the fact that we are even in 2026 is just crazy within itself. So we're not quite in quarter two. And I would say you have a little bit of time to really decide how do you want 2026 to go for you? All right. You know that, okay, this didn't work for us in 2025. We have this coming up or we want to do this. And I also want you to decide whether are you going to do this alone or you're saying, I want to get help. Now, if you're the entrepreneur and the business owner that I know that you are, you're the visionary that I know that you are, you're saying, I really need some help to carry this vision out. I need some help to carry this identity out. I need some help. I cannot do this alone. Now, for those that like to carry everything on their back, like Sheila was, when she was trying to go up that mountain in that Tyler Perry film, if that's you, I don't know what I'm going to say is going to really resonate with you because I am all about the soft life. I'm all about some things you can do by yourself. I get it. My budget's not there. I understand all those things. But at some point, we want to just say, you know what? That's not in my lane. I want to focus here. But I also want to explore ideas or areas where somebody can help me. All right. And also, it could also be somebody in your neighborhood, as in your friends, your family. You may have a niece or nephew that's in college that needs to get some extra hours in. Bring them into the business. Show them how they can help you. Help them further their skill set, right? Let them explore. There's too many schools that have so many developmental programs that allow them to work with entrepreneurs and business owners, especially in college. So there's no reason why we don't help not just the next generation, but in our bloodline, in our family, right? I wish somebody had did that for me. That is something that I wish that, with my father being an entrepreneur, a business owner, I just know for a fact I would have learned so much. Probably to the point he would have gotten on my nerves, but at least I would have learned something, right? Is that he could have passed this on to me. Or he could have said, hey, you need to go here instead of go your way. I got to connect here. It's all about sharing the love. Remember, we do not do things for ourselves. It is always, our purpose is always tied to somebody else, some way, some shape, form, or fashion. All right. So I had my teaching moment with y'all. I put on my publicist hat for y'all, because at the end of the day, again, I said I'm healing, you're healing, and I want us to go from stuck to momentum. All right. And the only way you can do that is by just doing it, just making the steps, making the phone calls, shooting the text messages out, sending the emails, listening to this podcast and writing down steps and saying, you know what? There is a lot of confusion of my brand. There is a lot of confusion about what I do. Heck, I'm confused. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I need to talk to an expert to try to settle my thoughts, because what I know about multi-hyphenated individuals and underdogs is that, baby, if the coins were probably where they wanted to be, but we'll be just doing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, we would just be doing a whole bunch of stuff because we got so many ideas. And that's the thing. They are amazing. Your journal is full of just so many next level ideas that would shake this world apart. Timing is important. Timing is everything. Seasons are everything. But you are sitting on so many ideas. But there is a rollout plan. There's a guide for you to follow and to do that so that you don't, prematurely put something out before it's time. It's a certain way you want to follow. And if we're going to really do this thing, or we're going to do it the right way, we're going to do it the real way, is that we're going to make sure that we're in it for the long haul. All right. So I hope that really helped you guys. I put on my publicist hat for y'all. Okay. I wouldn't say I took off my podcaster hat because we're here, but I did it for y'all because I want to make sure that we go into Q2 and the rest of this year being productive, being prosperous, and also being happy in what the vision that God gave us. All right. Until the next episode, remember to what? Be real, spread the honey, and be you.